Welcome back, everybody, to another Silver Dollar Chevy edition of Pole Barn Garage. We've got some things to wrap up and some wet sanding and polishing to do, but we need to finish some assembly before we really get started with anything else, so let's start there. Well, if you'll recall, last episode we weren't able to put the tailgate on because I was missing these little guys, these little trunnions, and they install in the ends of the tailgate. So let's attempt to put this on here without destroying it. Let's see if we can just, hey, nope, there goes one. Nope, there goes the other one. Oh boy. Alright, got one started. I was looking at this on the internet and they're like, oh my god, you need two people. Oh my god, it's so hard. You gotta do them both at the same time. That's how the factory did it. Oh yeah, I also put the chains on. It's on there just like it was from the factory. Poorly. What I got here is a bumper. And obviously this truck didn't have a bumper or bumper brackets because it had a plow mounted on the front. I picked this up used for like 50 bucks from a buddy of mine. I think he threw in the brackets, I don't remember. Anyway, it's not in bad shape. It's not perfect, but it was cheap, and so that's what we're going to use. I got to take off all the brackets that somebody's torched off of it at one time, though. Aha! Now this thing appears to have collected some sort of insect colony inside of it, so we'll just clean it out real quick. Good enough. First thing we gotta do here is attach the brackets to the truck, and I can already see a problem. This frame horn here is bent up. Probably from running into snow drifts for most of its life. I'm pretty sure this ain't gonna work, because they go like this. Guess I should have thought about this beforehand. I'm gonna bolt these brackets on, because that part of the frame looks fine-ish. Alright, we're gonna leave that nice and loose for now. Let me get back to you when I figure out how any of this is going to work. Alright, well we got 3 brackets on there. Let's see what that looks like. This is why certain things you try to get mounted before wet sand and polish. So if you scratch it up, at least you got a shot at fixing it. Now, you know, if the truck wasn't bent, I mean, it's definitely not bent. This really wouldn't be a problem, and this stuff usually lines right up on these trucks. You know, but this is it's a small exception, you know, I mean, no big deal. Alright, well, I mean, it's going to go on there and look straight, and that's really all we care about. For grins, if I put this bracket in there, will you find your way home, little guy? I could almost get a bolt in that. Let me throw my second set of hands under here. I push it up like this. Can't quite get this side to slide back far enough. I can push it to the point where I kind of want it, and so I'm tempted to just go drive the truck into a tree or something to bend the bumper bracket. But before I do that, I suppose I'll probably pull this bracket back off and try to slot the hole to let it slide back on the frame a little bit. I've got it sitting right now. Probably need scooched in just a skosh. I can either slot the bracket right there or slot the hole in the frame. I think I'm actually going to slot the hole in the frame because there will be more adjustment that way. We're just going to have to try to get this to where we want it, and I kind of like it right here. I kind of just made my own slotted hole with a burr bit. You know, it works pretty good actually. The bolt kind of is able to move around in there. Might clean it up a little bit. But that should work and give us a little more adjustability to slide it in and out. Okay, well that kind of worked. But we need the support here, otherwise it's going to keep flopping in. And I can get that if I turn this upside down, but that actually made the bumper too low, so I'm going to notch this hole up so that we get a little more up adjustment out of it. Ah, beautiful. Alright, well, let's see what that does. Well, I've resorted to this. Bend the thing into shape. I don't know what to do here, to be honest with you. I've tried everything, and it just will not hold being level, and I've even got all the bolts in it. I don't get it, but we'll figure it out. That's as good as it gets. I've been out here for 2 hours trying to get this goddamn thing to fit. It's not that bad. I can live with it. It's pushed out a little bit over there. Maybe we go bump a tree with it or something. I got a feeling this is as good as it gets, and it's got all the bolts in it. I don't think we can have both. We do have one more thing I'd like to do before we wet sand and polish, and you might recall that I never cut in the door jambs of this truck. They still look like this. We're going to fix that. It's time to paint some door jambs. It's not like we did anything beforehand that maybe we shouldn't have. Go ahead and get them prepped, you know. Okay. Now, anything that shows. That's going to be up in here. Doesn't have to be great. Just kind of hit it with a Scotch-Brite. Especially up here, top of the door. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You do this one, I'll do the other one.
All right.
How's it look? Oh, that's totally prepped. Perfect. Yeah, just here. Now you gotta wipe it off with the prepping towel, not the good ones.
Oh.
The shop rack, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, now it's prepped. You see, I'm masking this off really well. I'm actually doing this on purpose because I'm too scared to put tape on it. And the reason we're doing this before we polish the car is if I do get some overspray on there, it'll come right off. In the polishing and wet sanding process, of course. Just gotta cover up all that primer, and voila. Jammed. Runs and all, just like factory. Let's try to get our door jambs jammed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've done this an awful lot on cars, and most of 99% of the time nobody can tell. Because your paint in here obviously doesn't need to be UV resistant. It's well, inside. Yeah, there we go. Now, see this filler down here? Mm-hmm. You know, this is paint and primer in one, so it's just, yeah, see, it's gone.
You can't even tell.
Yep, I know. I'm telling you, you can make this as easy or as hard as you want to. I personally prefer to make my life easier. Precision masking, the portable masking tape. Also, I'm pulling this window out because it's a power window regulator, so if I get a little on it, it'll be alright. Also something I should have done before painting the truck, but, you know, such is life.
Got it all over the window.
No, that's fine. There you go. It didn't stick very good at all. That's maybe not a good thing necessarily, but oh well. Yep, paint right over that. Remember, you know, taking a sledgehammer to that to make the door fit? I mean, that never happened. See, the problem was I was using the wrong piece of masking paper on the other window. This one is formed for it. It's a custom piece. You can get that from pretty much any truck restoration shop. Alright, so you open the door, you get in your truck, pretend there's a door panel there, and, you know, you'll never know. And that's good enough for me. It's time to jump into wet sanding. I have an assortment of crap that I got off of Amazon to wet sand this truck with. You're going to need polishing compound. You're going to need fine grit sandpaper. We have an assortment here of you could even use 6-inch wet sanding paper on a DA like I have in here. An assortment of this as well, all the way up to 5,000. Also, this little guy, if you have runs, this is called a run razor, and you can adjust it and adjust it out to scrape the heads off your runs, or what I actually prefer to use is microscope slides. Take the edge of these microscopes and then just scrape. Start on this fender for no particular reason other than it has a run in it. Step 1, rinse the dust off. There is a run here. Pretty good one too. It goes all the way back. So we need to fix that. Without digging into anything, I just want to take just the head off of that run. We can get it all with sandpaper if we have to, but it should speed up the process. And I know I put enough clear on this for it to be able to take this. There, now you can start to see the run. We took off just the heads. We don't need to get it all right now. Got a little water container here, squirt bottle. Just keep it nice and wet. There's a little soap in that bottle, but I don't think that's going to hurt us any. And we're going to put some paper on our block. I'm going to start off with 1,000 grit. I may have to go more aggressive, but I'm probably going to go 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 on the truck. Don't worry about being perfect here. The key here is just to have short strokes. That's the most important thing, is to have short, consistent strokes. Otherwise, you'll end up leaving scratches in the paint. And you know what? We don't even have to get the whole run out. We've just got to make it blend in. This is the worst part of any paint job. It's also the part where you can really screw something up. So you need the squeegee so that you know what your surface is going to look like. You can see the orange peel that you're sanding away. You can see the outlines of the runs. You got to have it dry to be able to see what you're wet sanding. Okay. The other thing I do pretty much all the time, I stay at least ½ an inch away from any edge or body line. You can see DA works pretty good. I think this wet sandpaper is a little on the light side, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into 2000 grit. Because that 1000 grit didn't seem to leave hardly any scratches. And you know, given that I paid like $6 for 50 pieces of this paper, you know, it's possible that the quality is a little varying. And let's polish this fender. Then that's going to tell me if I'm going far enough or if I need to go further to get a really good shine out of this. We don't want to go too far, burn through the clear coat, and then destroy the paint job. So it's a fine line there. You know, you can always take more off. You can't put, well, you can put it back on, but it's a pain in the ass. These chemical guys, compounds, are kind of a kit to polish your car. They're in numerical order of where you should start, or what's the most aggressive one. Same with these pads that are some random Chinese brand, I don't know. Poop a little bit of that out on there. That's way too much. Yeah, I'm going to switch to a softer pad. That thing's way too hard. Maybe we should go softer. I'm not really a fan of this stuff, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to have to go to some 2500 grit or something. Because no matter how hard I try, with this kit, I can't get the sand scratches out of it. I think this is more for people who play paint detailer on TV, not really for actual work. Let's go to some 3000 on the 6-inch DA. I'll lightly hit this, and we'll see what kind of difference we have. 3000 is way more than I've ever done on anything. Looks like it'll get 3000 grit scratches out, but it will not touch 2000 grit. So I should probably stop right now or go get a wool pad and some different compounds. I just made a run, go get a wool pad, some actual polishing compound, and let's see if this does any better. Possibly, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's this polisher, I don't know. Fair and find out, but the chemical guy's stuff is kind of a bro product, you know what I mean? The problem with the wool pads, they're messy. It's probably really hard to tell on camera. Something's good or bad when it comes to this stuff, but this left swirls in it, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to do, but it pulled the sand scratches out. Still see a few. I can live with a few. So that's quite a bit better. Let's hit it with some medium cut cleaner. See if we can clean up any of that. For future reference, maybe don't pick the most obvious panel on the whole truck to say, let's test on that one. That's got a pretty good shine. I figured out a method. That looks pretty damn good, this upper part here. Wool pad plus 3M rubbing compound, medium cut cleaner on wool pad. Then, what I used swirl remover on foam pad. And then I actually used this chemical guy's finishing polish. But that process made for a pretty good looking fender there. Actually, you may not be able to see on camera at all, possibly, because everything looks good on camera. But take it from me that the top half of this fender looks pretty good. Now we just have to do the entire truck. That's pretty good. You can see the camera and me. You compare that to this fender. Granted, it's a little dirty, but even on camera, you can tell the difference. Door turned out pretty good. If we can get the whole truck to turn out like this, we will be in very, very good shape. Still needs like a final sealant or wax or something. It's going to get rid of a lot of that just like little stuff. But pretty happy with that. One thing I did notice is these damn microfiber towels seem to just lightly scratch the surface. I don't know why. I bought decent ones. Apparently not decent enough. I have returned after a few days of working on other things. And we're going to do things a little bit different than we did the first time. I'm going to wet sand the entire truck and then we'll polish the whole truck at once. You guys have seen the process to this point. Block where I can't get the DA in at, and I'm going to use the DA everywhere I'm able to. The only other thing I would note is that the bed doesn't need nearly as much wet sanding. The clear I used on the bed is of much better quality. Probably going to do the fenders from about here up. And that's just because that's in your line of sight. I'm going to throw you on fast forward. Let's get this done.
Call me the Joker, call me the fool. When she calls, I always seem to lose my cool. Baby, I'm just a moth to your flame. And don't you know that loving you is a train wreck waiting to happen? Don't you know that
Well, that is enough of that. The hood real light, you know, it didn't really need much. Hit a couple spots of dirt, just want to knock the heads off them. I mean, we're not shooting for perfection here. We just want, you know, a good solid, we don't want a 10-footer, we want like a 3 to 5 footer really out of this one, and it'll be able to pull that off. Got that really bad run out of the tailgate. Trying to see where it was. Now it's still there. They're all still there. Remember there were like 3 of them? They are all still there, but they're hidden to the point where I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. Plus, yeah, I figure we got stripes to put on this thing too. Got my polisher out. Oh, I forgot my compound though. There it is. Axial Adventures sent me this damn near replica of the silver dollar. So, you know, we'll put it to work around here. Wandering Buff has arrived on his way to Iowa for some reason. Have you ever polished a car before?
Figure something out.
Okay. Yeah, well that's good because my shoulders are killing me after wet sanding this set last night. Your turn.
I can certainly screw this up.
So try to stay off of the body lines.
Yep.
It's hazy, but we've been fighting that this entire time. So we're going to try some different pads. We're having some problems. I don't know if it's those cheap Chinese pads, the little dog tracks all over the place. It's not under the paint. It's something we're doing to it. So I bought 2 good foam pads just now. Well, I don't know what else to do, but I'm gonna have to wet sand again. Okay, guys. It's been 24 hours. I've been polishing my ass off. I didn't even want to film. I just wanted to focus on getting this thing right. I had to re-wet sand that door and the hood and some of the back fender. With 1500 to get all those puppy tracks out. I still didn't get them all, but it's much, much better than it was. I mean, you can see a little bit of like light scratching in there maybe. I went as far as a swirl remover. There's still going to be like a final polish and then a wax done. I don't want to put anything like silicone based on here. I don't know if they are silicone based or wax based, but I don't want to take any chances because Dad's going to help me put the stripes on this in a couple of days. So the stripes are of course decals and just like factory. And I'm just going to assume you don't want anything on the surface. Probably hit this fender with some swirl remover again. It's kind of a little hazy yet. The door's great, fender's great. Hood's pretty good. Not bad. Very nice deep shine to it. And I went ahead and hit this fender and the door with swirl remover again. There's still some compound left on it. We're just going to have to wash this thing. Obviously. And God, oh man. Well, me and JD washed this thing. We got all the hard water spots off it. You still see we need to hit her with an orbital polisher and get a final polish on it, but just to get the swirls out, but it'll be alright. In the meantime, I think I'd like to go ahead and stick the rear bumper on it. So I have my gazillion-dollar rear bumper here. Well, you know, that doesn't include the license plate bracket, of course, so gotta put the license plate bracket on, sold separately. And all the bolts and everything to attach the bumper is also sold separately. I also had to buy new brackets for it because I couldn't find any for a Stepside. So I picked those up from LMC. I bought it out of my own pocket. No sponsorship stuff. I got the license plate bracket installed. And, well, it fit probably about as well as you'd expect it to, which is to say it didn't. We can go ahead and tighten her down now. Key with any of this stuff, repop stuff, don't tighten anything until all the bolts are in. It's just like building a piece of IKEA furniture. You know, they always say, leave everything loose. You know why? Because it kind of sucks. These bumper brackets are kind of a pleasant surprise. Very, very heavy. Feel really nice. They're also labeled. They tell you this is the left hand, that's the left hand, that's the right hand, that's the right hand. And they came with all the hardware you need. At the same time, I have no clue how they attach to the truck. I kind of feel like they're labeled wrong. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. There's about 50 holes in the frame drilled here. I think at least one of them is probably factory. It all sure seems like this one that's labeled left hand fits the right hand side. It lines right up. I think they drilled the holes wrong in these. Thing is, I can't just flip them side to side because there's an angle in them. They only go one way. But that looks, you know, more or less correct, right? This is the driver's side of the truck. Right there. Right hand. Huh. Isn't that f***ing weird? And what I'm going to have to do is shim the bracket out to make it fit. It's not just the sticker. The brackets are different side to side. See how the bumper's hanging low right now? I'm going to have to shim it so it'll sit up. I mean, I'm going to have to rig it. I didn't want to rig it. That's why I spent $130 on brackets. If I wanted to rig it, I'd just made some. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it right. But God forbid we just make something in this country. The last bolt here, they all went in completely sideways. The fitment is just mwah. You know, just had to use the bumper adjusting tool here to make it fit. I do think it's attached with all of the bolts except for 2 of them. Hey. Well, I'll take that. Literally, the passenger side brackets are over there and the driver's side brackets are over here. But if you do that and put all the bolts in sideways, that fits great. I think it goes without saying that the Taiwanese clearly use a metric left and right. I mean, I should have known. I really should have known. We were going to put stripes on the truck, and there's no way I was going to try and do this by myself. So I brought my dad in, which means he'll probably do it. Tailgate lettering on will conveniently distract from that run, I hope.
It's really a shame to put the stripes on. I mean, it'll look cool no matter what because they're factory stripes, so they look correct. But this truck looks beautiful like it is.
These are from Phoenix Graphics. They make stripes for just about anything. They were not cheap. I hope they're worth $400.
Good God.
That's a hood because it's a U. The other side is a hood because it's a U. Let me go back to my blueprints here.
Why are these wider?
Oh shit. Well, I've never been able to find a picture of the tailgate of one. Cut it out, get it roughly to shape first.
Eliminate as much of the stuff that gets in the way as possible.
And a bucket of soapy water, a squeegee, and a lot of time. It'd be a little bit easier without having to do the letters.
Yeah.
That would have sucked to try to line all that up.
Once the liquid underneath there dries, even if I squeegee it out, it's going to have some moisture underneath it. But once that dries, it'll stick. Now once it's all off, the taper's off here, you go back over with a dry towel and cut it. You know, lightly push down as you wipe off the water. There, not good.
finishes up those stripes on that side of the truck. It's going to be a long process. I'm going to go ahead and put my new grill in. I know you can't really see. Just pretend with me that these aren't here. Oh, there's a grill.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, brand new.
That looks great.
Be cleaning up the emblems for the fenders. Putting in marker lights. Side of the truck is almost done. Apparently it has a big wide stripe on the bottom, but will handily cover up where the door caught the fender there. Marker lights are in. Cleaning bezels.
Yep.
I'll put these emblems on. You may be wondering, how are we going to put emblems back on? Well, you don't bolt it on. Use barrel nuts. It's kind of hard to get in sometimes. I already got one in. Pick the right size and then just tap them in. For whatever reason, this one doesn't want to cooperate. If it doesn't start cooperating, he's going to get the glue. There we go. You know, it's a two-piece emblem now. In my handy-dandy emblem application kit here. I always keep a little two-faced tape. You never know. Never know. In an effort to save a little bit of money, I'm going to reuse the original headlight bezels off of the truck. They're not in very good shape, but I think we can save them. So most of the pitting's inside here, and this is supposed to be like an argent silver color, which I don't have. But I do have this aluminum high heat paint that I got off of the clearance section at my hardware store. Oh, that'll work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just fine.
We'll put a couple coats of that on there and we'll clean it back off, and that'll be good. I got the band put back on. This clip isn't really holding very good anymore, so I'm just going to shoot a self-tap a little bit. I appear to have picked the only spot where there's something in my way. We're going to have to tap our own hole for the self-tapper. Fun fact, this thing's made out of bulletproof steel. That's fixed forever now. Never look at that again, okay? Well, it came with this extra stripe right there. We don't know what it's actually for. I can't find any pictures. When you Google a Stepside sport truck, it just shows this truck. So, you know, and a bunch of models. Anyway, it came with this extra double stripe, so that's going to repurpose it and run at least one extra on the bottom. Kind of have two stripes on the bottom instead of just that big chunk of white. Break it up a little bit. It's custom. It's full custom.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we're going to put the mirror on this side. The other side, its tip of this gasket is just past that. Drill a couple holes and mount it. Shoot a couple self-tappers into it. It's literally how GM put them on back in the day, so I don't want to hear it. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, no.
There we go. You managed to get them on the hood.
Straight out of the DC-50 cab.
It almost looks like something you see on the TV show.
All guy?
Yeah, well. Seriously, it's useful.
Well, one final thing I'd like to do today is change out the lug nuts and then put some center caps in. I've had these for a while now. I don't know what they're for, but they're brand new center caps and they seem like they'll fit. So let's try it. Holy crap, it's hot out here. 104. Oh, like 90% humidity. Oh, yeah. That'll work. And today's lug nuts are, of course, provided by lugnutguys.com, my preferred premier choice in lug nuts. Also, they watch the channel, so I might be biased, but they are really nice. I think I'm getting delirious from heat exhaustion. Love it. Yeah, that's a lot better. It needed that. A little more chrome. Hey, look down there, shiny. Don't notice the flaws. Of which there are relatively few, if I'm being honest. This isn't the typical pole barn build. but it is the typical Dalton build. Pre-YouTube. This is what I would generally pump out. And these obviously are cut out to go around the hub, but you still get a little more chrome on there and some new lug nuts. It'll look sharp, guys. Looks pretty sharp, doesn't it? We gotta definitely hit her with some more swirl remover, I think. Maybe like a final polish compound kind of deal on an orbital buffer. I think it'll get rid of a lot of it. You can't really see it, but if you look at it from like this angle, there's definitely some swirls in it. Then again, maybe I'm just being kind of picky, considering it looks like this. I mean, come on. I love it. Pretty awesome. Gotta figure out how to put tail lights on it. But that's a problem for another day when it's not 100 gazillion degrees out. So maybe later tonight or tomorrow. Well, there's no seat, so let's go for a drive down the driveway. But you gotta ride back here, so.
Yeah.
Couple final pieces here. I was hoping to get the taillights mounted, except for I bought the wrong brackets. These are for a 73 to 76, which is apparently completely different than this bed, which is off of an 80s truck, or I don't know, 77 and up, I guess. So I guess that's gonna have to wait for next time. I ordered the right stuff, it's coming, and some taillights. I had to find them used because they were out of production. But I can put marker lights in it, I guess. New lenses always help, and thankfully they're incredibly cheap for these. Well, maybe for a reason. Go in the hole. Oh my god. Yeah. This one fits. Yeah. It's not the marker light that's the problem. It's the holes in the fender. Go figure, the fender. I'll probably have to go back and drill a new hole for both of these. Well, it's 100 bazillion degrees out, and we gotta wax this thing. So I'm gonna use the Chemical Guys all-in-one polish and sealant. That's the only thing that was useful in that entire kit. But it does work pretty good. And then this is an orbital polisher, meaning it orbits like a DA. And this is pretty good for getting out those swirl marks and stuff that we've had. I just tried it on this fender, and if you remember, there were some pretty bad swirl marks in it, and they're gone. So what we can do with this is not only wax the truck, but also seal in that stripe, and then she should be good for a year or so. Put a little bit on here, smear it on just like before. This is a variable speed orbital polisher. I got it off Amazon for 50 bucks. Just gonna, just like before, this really makes quite a difference. It's almost hard to get off the surface because it's so humid it doesn't want to haze, but it's actually making the truck sweat. But you can see that looks different. It's shinier. Gives it a little bit deeper of a gloss, and this is just a nice finishing product to use, I guess. I mean, the rest of it sucks, but that pretty good, you know. It was only $90 to buy all of that and then figure out that this is the only thing worth owning. I'm gonna try to let it haze up on there, I think. Maybe let it dry for a second. Maybe it'll come off a little easier. It definitely doesn't want to come off while it's still wet. I mean, it's almost oily. It's kind of weird, but I mean, I can run this rag over it. It's freaking. You know, if you were like trying to polish dead paint, that would probably work really well.
that slicked it up pretty good. I don't think you can really even tell on camera, but it definitely looks a little more even, smoother. Sure is shiny. Well, anyway, I think that's all we got,
Yeah.
which is good. I am so hot. I just pouring sweat. Hey, sure. It's just so. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. I think next stop is in there. We got to upholster a seat and door panels and all kinds of stuff and do the interior of this. Then we're going to be done with this. And maybe we go drive it somewhere. Considering I've driven this truck, what, like 4 miles?
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about it, really. But god dang it, it sure looks nice. We'll see you guys next time on Pole Barn Garage. Remember, guys, we are the Real Budget channel, and we do real budget restorations on this channel, okay? And always remember that patina's really cute, but, you know, I mean, you know, come on. This is a little bit better. And I still don't have that much money in it, so I wouldn't worry about, you know, parking it in a parking lot or driving it through some mud or whatever. I mean, I got like, I don't know, maybe $1,000 in this paint job, which is more than some of the ones I've done, but it's still not bad. Well, we're gonna go cease dying now. Bye.